This week, we've got Starfield, Star Wars, Warhammers, Wizards with Guns, Punks that are cyber. Then we've got Dunes, Lords, and a Rebirth live on air. And if you thought that was all, we've also got MECHS.
I'm Nick, and you know how many games we got trailers this week? We got Imagine Graham's number, plus a Googleplex, plus Tree 3, and also Fable.
Hi, I'm Josh, and if I was any more excited, chocolate milk would come out of my nipples.
I'm Andy, and you are watching Video Game Tango. We've got Starfield.
Well,
just
not yet.
Well, I mean,
right out of the gate. Let's talk about Starfield. So, guys, we've had lots and lots of video games announced, lots and lots of video games shown, whether it be more gameplay, whether it be original announcements, whether it be new trailers, whatever. It's so many games. My doc is 8 pages long of games and trailers.
My doc is too big.
Of course, you can find those all at Video Game Tango's blog after the podcast goes live. But for now...
Video Game Blogo, of course.
But for now, we're going to talk Starfield. So, you guys all watched the Starfield presentation, yeah?
I did.
Starfield Direct?
We did.
It was... All right, so, I feel right off the bat, Starfield, they both came in with more than I expected, but like as we were talking the other night, it's like they didn't actually show as much. I had to walk it back after I had first watched it because I was like, honestly, a little blown away by their presentation.
The presentation seems really comprehensive, right?
Yeah, I mean, everything was fantastic except for the Bethesda face.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes. Everybody that's ever played a major Bethesda game
knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, be it Elder Scrolls or Fallout, you know exactly what we're talking about. So, my biggest takeaway from this is they showed a lot. And a lot more than I thought they probably would. I mean, the presentation itself is 45 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. Focusing on a single game. That's more details about any game or about Starfield than we've gotten about any game other this week. So I was pretty, I wouldn't say impressed by the presentation. I'll get to that, but I'm glad they showed as much as they did because I thought we were going to get significantly less.
Yeah, it was a bit strange to have nearly an hour-long video.
Yeah.
And not just like a 5-minute gameplay trailer.
Right. You know? Yeah, I know. I was kind of expecting like to see some more gameplay trailer. Like I was expecting to see some gameplay, probably more cinematics, maybe the team talking about how proud they are of the game they developed and like it, you know, and then some kind of confirmation that yes, it will be ready by winter 2023, you know, like concrete release date kind of thing. Which is, we got all of that in this presentation. What I'm really kind of disappointed in is like, so you can make the argument that they showed a lot of gameplay.
And I did make that argument, or at least I tried to.
So my argument against that is they showed a lot of locations. They showed a lot of characters. They showed a lot of items and objects that you can interact with, but they did not show a lot of gameplay. They did not show the main character interacting with these NPCs, and they did not show the main character interacting with these objects. And they did not, and they talked about combat a lot, but really the only combat that you got other than some cinematic side shots of some cool combat sequences, the only gameplay that you got combat-wise happens in the first like 5 minutes of the gameplay presentation. And it lasts all of 30 seconds. So you do see some hip firing, some ADSing, and what looks like
some jump packing.
Yeah, that's true. Some
jump packing.
Pretty standard shooter fare. Right? To me, it looks a little Destiny-ish. The weapons are, you know, a little bit more realistic and that kind of thing, but like it just didn't look like anything new, right? And they're just my biggest complaint was there was not enough of it.
Okay, I was gonna say I felt like once we had kind of talked about it is like you make all those points and it's like okay, so yeah, maybe they didn't show really as much gameplay as it kind of seems in the video, but I feel like they're doing plenty of good stuff. Nothing seems tired or dry in what they're showing us. And we did get a lot of looks at everything from customization of weapons and ships to a look at the UI. They did give us they gave us a lot. Maybe not enough gameplay, but they did give us a lot.
Yeah. So, and you're right. They did show a lot of stuff. Like, legitimately, they showed a lot of this game off. What we didn't see was a gameplay, a player's perspective of a player doing these things. Instead, we got voiceover about these characters that you were going to interact with, these factions that you were going to be playing with or against, these perks that you were going to be choosing when you create your character that interact with the world as it is. But we didn't see that happen. And what I'm worried about is that they're still in this concept phase. And these are things that we've heard all along the development cycle, is that like there are a lot of really good ideas and they're all being implemented, but nothing's like done yet.
So let me jump in here with a few things.
Yeah.
One, I think a good way to put what you're trying to put down is we didn't see much of the gameplay loop.
Yeah.
We saw all the fiddly bits and pieces, but like you said, with voiceover and in 10 to 20 second clips, right?
Yeah.
Now, what do we know about Bethesda gameplay loops, given that this looks a lot like Skyrim and Fallout and all those things? Everyone knows. I don't think I need to go into depth about how the gameplay loop works in those games. That said, I'm not concerned that that gameplay loop is undone, given how close we are to release and how many years they've had to do it. But I think what they consider to be like finished, to me, is not enough.
Yeah.
My thoughts on it is this looks like No Man's Sky.
Yeah, it does.
You have done everything that No Man's Sky has done.
Yeah.
You have 1,000 planets, which screams procedurally gen planets. And it's one thing, to fill a location with handcrafted stuff. When you have 1,000 planets, I'd bet money you're going to have like 3 to 5 locations per planet with content.
Yeah.
And the rest is going to be procedurally gen terrain with procedurally gen creatures that are almost useless to go and interact with.
Yeah.
Right? Now, knowing that after the first 20 or so minutes of this, I'm like, okay, you're showing me No Man's Sky. What I want to see is your story and like the gameplay loop and the plot development and like what factions you have and the reasons I'm doing all this stuff. Because if you're giving me a sandbox to go mine rocks with a laser miner and shoot random dudes that, it's like 5 dudes at an outpost, that's whatever, that's fine. But really, Fallout and Skyrim, they kind of live and die on all their little dialogues and storylines and stuff like that. And we didn't see a lot of that, which tells me this game is probably going to feel bare bones. It's probably going to feel a little barren unless they're just hiding a bunch of it and decided not to show us.
Yeah.
I mean, they did talk about their factions a bit and that stuff, but nobody needs 1,000 fucking planets if there's only going to be a few points of interest on each.
Right. I'd rather
overkill.
I'd rather one densely populated and like living world
And
than
the fact that they have these
universe.
factions and these important planets, or like Approximus or New Atlantis or whatever, there's going to be like core sectors where there's a lot of content.
Yeah.
And what it probably means is like on the outskirts and the lawless zones, there's just going to be hundreds of planets with like side quests on them. Right. Now, I could be wrong, but again, the major feeling I got from this is this just looks like a kind of polished No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
It makes sense a little bit in Skyrim for you to go into a mine and mine some orichalcum to handcraft your own sword. This is a sci-fi game. I don't want to be shooting rocks with lasers to collect ore, right? There's entire multi-interstellar industries about ore mining that I should just be able to go buy this stuff from, So I don't know. It just concerns me. I really think with, these major cities, they got all these people walking around. It's fluff. It's filler, right? These people you're not going to be able to talk to every individual one and have unique stories with. And I wish they had kept it to like 20 planets.
Yeah.
And, handcrafted each one and have, a major focus be on storytelling and the dialogue that Bethesda is known for. But we'll see. I don't know.
What scares me off a little bit, and I'm going to check it out, right? It's Game Pass. Like, it's going to be Game Pass day one, so why not take a look at it? There's no losing here. except for a little bit of my time. At the end of the day, I'm not huge into Bethesda RPGs as it stands, but I'm more than willing to give this game a chance, and I'd love to, because the way it's been talked about, for the last several years in its development, is it's going to be the next big game, right?
Marketing.
This is the quadruple A game, right? Yeah. For sure it is. But I'd like to. At the end of the day, I'm not going to give up on it. I'm still going to check it out, but I certainly have my reservations. That while this grand, expansive universe is a noble endeavor, I think that might be what kills the game ultimately.
I'm just saying, if it was like the next big thing, quadruple A, they'd be fucking using Unreal 5.
Well, yeah, there's some. I think they're using. I think their engine is called Creation Engine, and they have 2. I think they did make Creation 2 for this game.
I'm just giving a poke, but. Yeah.
What concerns me is kind of back and forth. Like, okay, they got a new engine. Maybe that means all the old bugs aren't going to be in the game that the old ones are known for. Or maybe it means that their team is now working with a new engine and there's going to be even more bugs than there were before.
Yeah.
Like, if you want a reason not to play Starfield after all the media and whatnot shown you day one, it's because the game's probably going to be chocked full of bugs.
Yeah.
That's what Bethesda does.
Yeah.
So hopefully not, fingers crossed, but I was not impressed with this. I wasn't let down.
Sure.
It's good to see how much progress they've made, but I was a little disheartened to see how much of a No Man's Sky clone this looked like.
Yeah. Well, that's Starfield. Nick, you've got another game to talk about.
I do. One of my early favorites. So,
yeah, boy.
I talked about it a few times. They recently released a little gameplay trailer, and there's been a few people talking about it, about a video on YouTube and whatnot. Armored Core 6 is chugging along, and this gameplay trailer made me feel so excited. It's almost seemingly, as much as you can expect, a perfect balance between the old Armored Core style games and everything they've learned from Dark Souls. One of the major points of this video, a lot of people were talking about, is you have a soft lock feature, which is much more Armored Core focused, where your camera isn't auto targeting people. And when you're in that, it doesn't show it in this gameplay trailer because the HUD was kind of like behind the scenes for the journalists only, but somebody made a mock-up of it. You get a soft lock that'll move around, and you can multi-lock targets to shoot rockets at multiple enemies. Or at a button press, you can switch to a hard lock where your camera follows an enemy, much more like Dark Souls, and focus fire on them. Enemies have stagger, which once they're staggered in that state, they take more damage. You can kick them and knock them around. Very fluid movement. I wouldn't put it as fast-paced in anime's Armored Core 5 or 6. So
yeah.
It's much closer to Armored Core 4, probably a bit more than 3 and 2, which is really, really nice. Some interesting choices. Your 4 weapons, 2 shoulders and 2 arms, are bound to L1, L2, R1, R2, which is an interesting choice, meaning that all your movement and other side abilities are going to be relegated to sticks and face buttons. So we'll see how that pans out. But you have a reactive shield that will block more damage the moment you put it out, meaning you have less of a reason just to try to defend yourself and hold it. Tighter areas and levels means you might want to have closer range weapons. Your LRMs aren't going to be as effective. And much more like Dark Souls, you have the ability to kind of re-equip yourself mid-mission, maybe not necessarily mid-combat, as well as repair kits, allowing you to heal in the field in the mission, which was not the case in older Armored Cores.
Yeah.
The equipment menu and all the fiddly bits of messing around with your mech, as they're showing right here, not as complex as some older ones. There might be some stuff we haven't seen. They've folded in some of the old modules, like you no longer need a radiator slot because it's built into your engine. But it looks like there's enough fiddly bits for this to be acceptable, right? I want my Armored Core as fiddly as possible, but I will take what I can get. And watching some of these boss fights, which are very, very Dark Souls-esque, it makes me wonder, okay, we've got this mid-range, 75% agile on the 0 to 100 scale bot fighting this big boss later on. Makes me wonder how like the heavier mechs are going to handle some of these like telegraphed boss attacks. But yeah, the game looks fantastic, and I'm very, very excited.
It really does. I'm glad to see another Armored Core game come post Dark Souls and Elden Ring, and seeing
They've learned
that
so much.
Yes, it looks like they've really put into practice what they've learned from those games, while keeping it looks really faithful to the Armored Core series. It's a little bit faster than your first few Armored Cores, but it's certainly slower than what was the like hectic, chaotic combat in, I think it was 4 and 5. Maybe it was 5 and 6. Yeah.
This is 6. So 4 and 5
Yeah, 4
was
and 5,
very, very anime. Like, over the top speed.
Super over the top. And that felt very antithetical to what Armored Core felt previously.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited for this one, for sure.
Everything's so big. I don't feel like the mech's big.
Yeah,
you know, like everything
you can build
around
a bigger mech.
I mean, I know, but everything around it is so like I want like Pacific Rim. I want that. Like, dude, it looks fucking dope.
Then,
like I'm not like if I was, you know what I mean? But everything's so big in the scenery. I don't like, you just feel like a guy.
Well, then you should have played the Gundam first person shooter. Everything is suited for a Gundam, but you still see forklifts on the ground that are this big compared to your Gundam, you know?
I mean, they made a Pacific Rim video game, Josh.
There you go. You'll have to check it out. Well, Josh, you've got another game for us.
I do. The king of games from the king of entertainment.
What's this? The king of games?
'Tis the king of games.
Unexpected.
Star Wars Outlaws.
All right.
Oh yeah,
thanks,
I thought
Josh.
there was going to
Andy,
be. I'm sorry,
what
I
do you
was
got?
waiting for a roll there, but like
I'm not going to give you one.
Yeah, thank you.
roll.
So this one's coming from Massive Entertainment and Ubisoft. It is an open world Star Wars game, like the first truly open world Star Wars game, and
I got words about that.
It is taking. Well, all right, fair enough. It is taking place between Empire and Return. So guys, it looks really. We didn't get a crazy amount of gameplay. We got one little introduction video, but anything Star Wars comes out, I'm excited for it. I plus open world. You know, I love an open world game. I know, Andy, you're not excited about it, but you hear open world and you close in, but that's okay.
Close world. You saw a gameplay video today. I wasn't able to watch it, right?
I didn't watch it either.
I did see a gameplay video. So in the gameplay video, it looks like she's taking down some syndicate stuff, picking up some shit, and then running from Imperials. So everything on the speeder bike, it looked fast paced, it looked crisp, and all the stuff you love is in there. There's TIE fighters, there's speeder bikes, fucking blaster pistols. You see a bad Mon Calamari. That's cool to know that they can be, sneaky guys too. I like that.
Malamari.
Con Malamari. Oh my goodness.
Works on
yes.
2
Thank
levels.
you. So, of course, there's a split in the fandom because the only thing Star Wars fans hate more than Star Wars is Star Wars. So they don't like that they don't get to make their own person. But like this is going to be a canon. This is a canon story. So it's Knights of the Old Republic they had to pick one of Revan's storylines to become canon, and they did. So this is just preventing that. It's like you don't get to make your own character. There's still plenty of decisions you get to make, and then of course there's lots of people who are upset that the hero's a female.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I mean,
whatever.
you know.
No, this is Shadows of the Empire, right?
Yeah,
this is between episodes 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're dealing with Syndicate, Black Sun Syndicate, I
Black
imagine.
Sun, the Pikes, and that's what you're going to be doing is you're going to be navigating the Empire when it's at its most desperate, and the criminal syndicates when they're at their most, like when they're reaching for their most powerful. It's going to be awesome.
I desperately hope you don't
Like,
suddenly decide to join the rebels and be yet another
I don't want. That would be
anti-hero
terrible.
turn good guy. If it's just dealing with the Syndicate and the Imperials in the background as a looming threat, awesome.
If they're able to deliver what this video, like, because I mean the cinematic trailer stuff looks amazing. If they're able to deliver like the promises that they're making, I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, this could be a contender for one of the best Star Wars games, you know? And just one more thing on the complaints about the character. Like when Cal Kestis first came out, there was quite a bit of grumbling about not getting to customize your own character. And now everybody loves Cal Kestis. So just, give it a year and the Star Wars fandom will get over it. They don't know what's, they don't know what they like.
One major complaint with all Star Wars games. Let me play someone other than a human. It's Star Wars. There's 10 bajillion races, and C-3PO knows how to pronounce all of them.
That's true. It's very Jesus. C-3PO can't help with that.
Oh my goodness.
R2D2 noises.
I was calling for R2.
All right,
That is true. There's, a shockingly little that you get to play as any other race.
Yeah. I want a Gungan stealth game. No one else does.
That sounds awesome.
That's
I'll play
always
that.
a bigger fish.
Give me an Ewok Doom clone.
You know what else I'm going to play?
Ewoks
Something pregnancy. Oh,
Close.
Rebirth.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So, the long-awaited sequel to Final Fantasy VII Remake is here. I have been picking this trailer apart because I'm an FF7 nerd, always have been. It looks. I mean, what I don't know what I can say about this. It isn't just me kind of glowing about more Final Fantasy
To help
VII.
contextualize, this is the second in the 3-part.
We don't know how many part.
Or the second in the X-part remake of Final Fantasy VII.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Yes. So, all of our heroes that we left off are returning. We're going to be seeing more of them. There was DLC that came out for Final Fantasy VII Remake already that features Yuffie as the main character. She's going to be joining the party, as we can tell in this trailer. The main thing is I'm looking at footage of the overworld. And I was really worried about them not being able to do an overworld and not having like a sprawling living world. This trailer has kind of put that at bay. I recognize the locations. I recognize bosses in this short. We get a good look at Cosmo Canyon. Right here, we're getting a good look at what is going to be the Junon, the giant gun at Junon. We get a little snippet of the High Wind right there, and it's got me so excited. I mean, it's more Final Fantasy VII Remake, which Final Fantasy VII Remake did deviate from the original story, and it does seem to be confirmed that this is going to continue to deviate from the original story. So while it's going to have all of the locales and all of the characters that the original did, the story is going to change. Some of that being what Kitase had and Sakaguchi had as their original visions for this game, and were limited by technology and time at the time. So some of that is the realization of their vision, of their original visions. Some of that is changes to the story that they wanted to make after the game came out.
Retconning.
Yeah.
Question: Yuffie was a DLC character?
Yuffie, well, yes, because she got an earlier introduction in Remake than she does in Final Fantasy VII.
That's way earlier than
yes.
got in the past.
So we get the DLC effectively acts as a prequel to Yuffie's story in the original game.
Gotcha.
So you see the events that unfurl right before you meet Yuffie in Final Fantasy VII Original in the DLC for the remake.
Okay.
It's complex because it's Final Fantasy, but yeah, it's you get an entire story. It also introduces you to characters that were introduced in later games like Dirge of Cerberus and the movies and such. So they will be, it looks like, incorporated into Rebirth as well.
Okay.
So
very cool.
Yeah, very cool. The trailer has me going gaga. It's gorgeous. It's going to be PS5 exclusive, no longer on the PS4. And even as a PS5 exclusive, it's going to be on 2 discs.
2 discs.
2 discs.
That's
so
a throwback.
we have multi-disc games coming back to the PlayStation,
Please
man.
Insert disc 11.
Woo!
Fun
So
stuff.
I don't know if a woo is right there.
It means more content, bro.
Well,
Okay, yeah, fair. Okay,
Yeah.
fair. I guess. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't like playing more
It's
games
just
that I
annoying
like.
to have to stand up to put the new fucking thing in. You know, shit.
I mean, except for you just install it and you're good.
Yeah,
because this is 2023, bro.
well then there's somebody who's buying 2 discs. Let's get up and put a second disc in.
It's a collector's disc.
That's right.
You can collect them. Every second disc you get gives you one more level than the third disc.
Yeah,
Makes
It's a
sense.
compounding
Yeah.
factor. Anyways, Le Petit Mort, Baguette, hon hon hon. We have a bit of a French game coming up that I am getting more and more excited for. This is the second time we've seen like a major trailer for this? So?
it's like the third or fourth.
Third or fourth.
Yeah, it got shown off originally at Summer Games
I
Fest
can
last
count
year.
un, deux, trois, and then it's all a blur from there.
Same.
Lies of P, Emo Pinocchio, Dark Souls with aesthetics and style on point. That wraps up pretty much all that I know about this game, other than this is one of the most polished at the right stage. A lot of games in these series I've watched over all these shows, a lot of them are polished, but they look like they got polished way too early. This game looks like it's got everything in place. They've had time to make everything look awesome. Again, style and theming on point. I assume that's maybe Frankenstein, right? There's this clockwork, dark circus, fucking French, countryside mixed with noble regalia.
Yeah, there's a milieu.
A milieu. There you go.
There's no ennui.
No ennui. My Wii is off, but yeah, I've been peeing every direction after I saw this trailer. No, again, not a lot of gameplay itself, other than this is in-game footage, given what I'm seeing, I'm assuming. But yeah, everything seems to be set in place well, and I'm hoping the gameplay can follow through with what they've shown. Just excited all around about this one.
Well, just so you know, the first chapter of Lies of P is available on Game Pass right now. There is a demo out, and people have been playing it, and I've seen some gameplay, and what people are saying about the gameplay so far is really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't like playing bits of a game, so
Sure.
I'll probably wait.
Yeah.
But that's still pretty cool.
I mean, next week we're going to be playing lots of bits of games, but that's true.
It looks,
So there's going to be that.
it looks really cool.
It does look
dark
really cool.
and creepy. For me, it kind of sparked Big Daddy and Bioshock, like the Bioshock Infinite kind of, but like with of course, a French twist on it.
A gothic Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah, gothic Bioshock Infinite is kind of like that. Is like what jumped out at me immediately.
I was
gonna
thinking
give
French My Chemical Romance. But
There you go.
Oh shit, that's really good. That's really good.
yeah.
Josh.
All right, so for me next, do you know?
Here it comes.
No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
We've had so many jokes about this. Anyways, continue.
No, the only thing that can make a wizard cooler is a gun, of course. So that's what I'm bringing to the table next, guys. It's Wizard with a Gun. Now, this is coming from Galvanic Games, and it has a possible 2023 release. So this is going to be a co-op sandbox game set in a weird West fantasy kind of a deal there. So your gun is your magic. You're making bullets. You make your camp by shooting it together.
Okay, why not?
Yeah, right.
True.
So, like, you got to put the world back together from the Great Cataclysm, and all you have is your trusty blunderbuss or musket.
Blunderbuss.
Or yes, it just looks like a lot of fun. Now the trailer, like, first off, great trailer, fantastic trailer. Everything looks crisp and exciting, and then we actually get to see some in-game stuff too, and it just looks like a fun gameplay. And this is going to be available for just about everything, I believe. It was PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. Yeah, was it all of them?
It's your game, bro.
Oh shit! Well, I didn't make it into the
It's
notes. I'm
co-op.
sorry.
Yeah.
It is co-op.
Yes.
So
That's the exciting.
That's
the exciting part. So-
it's definitely co-op.
I also want to mention, this is how you make a fucking trailer.
Yes.
First, starting with an awesome cinematic trailer, and then once a cinematic trailer has completed, you get a gameplay trailer along with it. It's all in the same video.
Yeah.
It's
Way to do
crazy.
it.
And both of them together tell you what the game's gonna maybe be about.
Yeah.
So like it hit all the bells and whistles, all the marks.
It looks so much like a Clay game. It looks so much like fucking, oh my God.
It looks like Don't Starve
Don't
and
Starve.
League of Legends
Yes.
had a baby.
Yeah. I mean, like some of
That's
these
not
textures.
what I was expecting from the cinematic trailer.
Right.
But
Some of these textures look like they were ripped straight out of Don't Starve. It's interesting.
it's the really heavy isometric camera combined with the flat 2D art style
Yeah.
that makes it look like that.
Oh,
yeah.
big time. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I mean, like even the art style, like this looks like it was made by Clay. Like I'm really surprised this isn't a Clay game, or that he didn't have some kind of like hand in making this because it really looks like one. Looks fantastic to me. I mean, it's basically twin stick shooter, base builder with a narrative, and that sounds fucking cool to me.
It has a lot of stuff going for it. A lot of stuff going for it.
Super cool.
Excited for this one.
Me too. Especially since we can play together.
Yay.
Speaking of playing stuff together, you know what else has co-op?
Your mom? You walked right into that one. I'm sorry.
Remnant 2. So we got a really cool gameplay trailer for Remnant 2, especially showing off the co-op campaign, and it looks fucking incredible.
Dude, this surprised me.
Dude, so
Yeah.
I'm watching this. No, some of it's gameplay, some of it's cinematic, but it looks like it's going to be. I'm still having a hard time telling whether this is going to be like purely third person because it also looks like there's some first person aspects of it, but it does look like a third person shooter. And while I'm watching this trailer, I'm like, okay, so we have a little bit of cyberpunk going on. Okay, well, that looks like a little bit of Clockwork Punk. Okay, well, steampunk, maybe.
That looks like a Sentinel from the fucking Matrix right there.
Flesh punk. I'm not sure. At any rate,
I don't like Flesh Punk.
it looks like we're seeing some standard enemies and some boss fights, and both of them look fucking cool. The magic you get to use or the abilities that you get to use look cool. The melee combat looks fucking fluid, and the gunplay looks super solid for a third-person shooter. Watching the little snippets of gameplay that we get along with the third-person detached camera action and with the more cinematic stuff, all of it looks good.
Yeah. The shooters are a dime a dozen, right? You see a million trailers for shooters. And when you're watching a trailer for a shooter, you're like, okay, this is whatever. And by the time it gets in, you're like, okay, they actually showed some cool stuff, right? It like builds up a meter, right? And in this trailer, that meter hits like in the first third. And then they just keep showing clip after clip of neat bosses, neat locations, neat abilities. And you're like, oh, okay, that was amazing. The trailer's over. No, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
And it's really surprising. The first one was decently well reviewed. It wasn't a bad game by any means. It had its problems, but it was fine. Hopefully they've learned the fact that, the co-op is even more supported now than I don't remember how exactly it worked in the first one. Because people that I know that played it only played a single player, but I'm always down for more co-op games. And like you said, like that looks like a squid straight out of the Matrix, and then there's a bunch of, clockwork shit and what Weird West main characters and a little Half-Life vibes.
Yeah,
with,
dude.
Pods and things. And there's even a train to nowhere, right?
Yeah.
It's very Half-Life.
Dude, all of this screams a bunch of cool games that we've played before.
Yeah.
But with its own unique looking mechanics and its own style, So I'm super into it.
Yeah. Very well done trailer. I'm excited for this one.
Same Z's. Plus, 3-player co-op, like perfect. Let's play, boys.
4-player. Stop it with this 3-player shit. People have friends.
Yeah.
Dude,
Listen,
that's a thing that I've been not getting for a hot second with some of the battlers and whatnot. Why 3?
My thinking is 2-player makes sense in a context that it's like a duo, right?
Yeah,
that
sure.
fits a lot of theming, right? Duos are a thing,
Army of 2, baby.
right? But then if you're going to want to have more than that, if you're already making 3-player, it's just as easy to make 4, right? And
well, I don't know about that. If you have 3 very distinct characters that all have very distinct, unique abilities, and then adding a 4th, if that felt like if I were developing this game with the intention of making 4-player co-op, and the fourth player always felt like a fucking third wheel. I'd be like, all right, 3-player.
I'm just going to point out all the MOBAs that have over 100 characters, all with unique abilities.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right. It's not hard to make 4 unique characters.
Yeah.
Tank, healer, support, and DPS. Right. There you go.
Listen, dude. I agree with you, but like, if I were making this game, and I were like the fourth character we have sucks, I'd take it back to 3.
Sure. Anyways, another game that I was interested in, that I very so happily found out their YouTube channel has quite a bit of gameplay on from months ago in the Korean beta, is Warhaven, a game that looks like a mix between Dynasty Warriors, For Honor, and Battlefield was kind of the vibes I was getting from it. Somewhere around like 8 to 10, maybe 12 player co-op, team versus team. We're assaulting enemy castles with siege weapons and tanks, but you're also playing as hero characters. I thought at first they were fighting just like Mook NPCs, aka Dynasty Warriors, but no, they're fighting other teams of actual players. Big, messy, janky combat with lots of people in just a complete and utter scrum. With some neat abilities, your character can enter these like immortal avatar states to do some cool stuff. But yeah, it's a very location and objective based game mode for their main game mode, which reminds me a bit of Battlefield. But then it's got that mildly fighter-esque feel of For Honor without necessarily the fighting control scheme. But yeah, more competitive co-op that is also PvP, right? I love that. Their YouTube channel at Warhaven has a bunch of trailers. They've got trailers for the different control layouts, depending on if you want to play with a controller or mouse and keyboard. They've got a bunch of gameplay videos with the devs from 8 months to a year ago when this was in, I assume, closed beta in South Korea. But yeah, another game that, I'm starting to really recognize South Korean games.
Yeah.
They have their own feel to them that is... I wouldn't call it a hybrid, but they're obviously not Japanese games, right? But they're also not Western games, and I'm appreciating it more and more.
It also does.
This looks good.
Yeah.
This looks great.
It also does feel like they're more comfortable doing things like mixing genres and being more inventive. And I think, from where I stand, a lot of these South Korean games that are coming out have some really inventive mechanics, and they're not just pushing game after game that's the same after same, right?
Yeah.
Like even with some of the MMOs, even though they're relatively gacha and stuff like that, they're different.
Yeah. Chat's mentioning that there were some definite problems in beta, so hopefully they had time to fix that. I think the beta, I'm guessing, was about 8 months to a year ago. This seems like enough time to me to tweak numbers and detune, overtune things. But yeah, fingers crossed. You never know until it releases, but we don't see a lot of competitive co-op PvP games, so I'm excited.
Yeah, totes. Josh.
All right. Speaking of PvP, how about you take a little trip with me to the deadliest planet in the galaxy? I'm talking, of course, about Arrakis. This is where you're there's danger, there's money, there's spice, there's worms. But most of all, water. You want water. That's what you really need. So you're gonna start off as a crash survivor. You're literally in the desert of Arrakis. You have a bit of scrap metal to your. That's what you're gonna stab people with to get your stuff.
Very rust.
And you're gonna climb. That's the idea, or die, I suppose. That could be. I guess I'll die.
Climb and die. That's a possibility. Metal and water.
There's going to be a lot of single player aspects in this, where you're base building. You're going to be upgrading your gear. But it is also an MMO, so you're going to be getting together. Your guild, your clan, boy, howdy, you need to get that spice. So you're going to be riding your dune bikes out there to get the spice before that Harkonnen motherfucker gets out there and steals all your spice. So it's still very, there's nothing definitive yet, but it looks very cool. Everything looks good there.
In development trailer.
It's still in development trailer, right? But everything's starting to look pretty good. Nothing's, again, like we were talking about, right time for polish. Nothing seems super polished yet, so it's definitely still fluid and working on it. But all the Dune stuff is there, guys. And with the movie coming out at the end of the year, these guys here at, I think it's Funcom. Yep, Funcom I think they're striking while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good. They have the idea of resource management with the water on point. I mean, yeah, cool.
I recognize Funcom. They've been around a long time.
They have, yeah.
Their previous games, they made the Conan MMO. They made Metal Hellsinger.
Yeah.
They made Mutant Year Zero, Anarchy Online. So, yeah, again, games are kind of hit and miss.
They have an MMO pedigree, but that pedigree isn't recognized as like being top notch.
Yeah.
Right.
Also made Dune Spice Wars, which was the more like 4X Command and Conquer style Dune game that got very well received.
Yeah, super well reviewed, beloved game. So yeah, I think there's
hopeful.
Right. And especially since they're extracting from an already existing IP, that I think that gives them more opportunity to flesh out gameplay rather than spend too much time on creative. So hopefully that's where they're devoting their time.
I agree. It's like with character creation, you're going to be running a lot of the story. They just need to have the pieces in place there. So yeah, gameplay can be a big one. If you're going to let me
create my starting scrap metal that I get to stab people with, super happy.
I love scrap metal. I love making my own scrap metal. Speaking of scrap metal, I don't know.
Banish that scrap metal back to New Eden.
The next game I've got up on the list is Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess.
Sorry.
What?
I thought you were doing Banish.
Oh, no, not yet. So, Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess. This one was a surprise for me. So, a new IP from Capcom.
Okay.
And boy, it's been a long time since I've been excited at all about a Capcom game.
Because what do they have? Street Fighter?
Pretty much. So, because I'm looking at their more recent releases, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of really cool Japanese exclusive releases. But yeah, it's been Street Fighter and Street Fighter versus Marvel, and the IPs that have lent them strength for so long. This one, we've got an action game featuring a heroine, really ultra colorful. It's really hard to extract anything from this trailer other than it's very pretty. But what I like most about what they've shown so far is the theme. It's very like Gothic Japanese folklore type theme. Don't really get any like combat gameplay footage. This is a purely cinematic footage trailer. But it's like it's weird because I would call it like colorful goth, which seems antithetical, right? But
yeah, I mean, when you're dealing, I'm assuming this is dealing with not Oni. What's the word I'm looking for? The Japanese spirits and whatnot. It looks very life and death cycly.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. It's actually screaming cultivation. I don't know if you're familiar. It's more of a Chinese thing, but the cultivation theming and games and whatnot that are coming out of China.
I'm not aware.
Okay,
So
we'll talk about it later.
My initial, very first impression, if I was going to call this anything, is Dark Souls Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like
Dark
that's
Souls
what
game
it like.
with Ninja
Bam.
Gaiden. Paint.
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of the villains. Now that I'm thinking of it, do look kind of like From Software bad guys. Very lanky limbs on a lot of them. A lot of weird crawly bits and flowing hair everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was my initial, and it's not a bad thing. I mean, that's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah.
No, it's the trailer is to me is striking, and if the gameplay can look anything like the trailer does, and the combat is good, I can't wait to see where this goes.
Yeah, the combat's gonna have to be tight.
Yeah,
It's gonna have to be tight.
Toy. Speaking of tight,
These
Your mother?
muscles that have been bioengineered for maximum xenophobia. Warhammer 2 Space Marine is a fantastic. Oh my gosh. The first game I loved. It was amazing. It was not co-op. It was, what was it? It was like Doom but Warhammer.
Yeah.
And I loved every minute of it. It knew exactly what it was, and it was gory as all get out, and it was vaguely fascist as all get out, because that's Warhammer, right?
I mean,
everyone
Warhammer,
is
baby.
evil. Everyone hates everyone. There are no good guys, right? This looks even better. The Tyranids look like a proper swarm, like they should. And to top it off, it's co-op, 2-player Space Marine. I just watched him with a Gatling gun. There's 9,000 Tyranids pouring out of a thing like blood from a Xeno. It's amazing. I don't know what else to say. If you know Warhammer, you know Warhammer. If you don't, do you like killing aliens? A lot of them. Here you go. Watch the trailer.
Yeah, check out the first Space Marines. I think they still
it's gotta
have
be cheap now too.
If it's not
fantastic,
cheap,
too.
I'm pretty sure they actually still
Up
have
to
a Space
3
Marine
players,
demo.
sir.
Up to 3.
Up to 3 players.
Should have been 4. That's okay.
Should have been 4.
3. I'll accept for this game. They get a pass.
I mean, they went from 1 to 3. That's a jump. That's
Now,
a jump.
to be fair, it's never gonna look like this on my computer, but at least in the trailers.
It
Well, hey man,
will
you just got
on
an upgrade, so it's look better.
I mean, yeah. Sometimes an upgrade is, a D to a C. But
This is true.
yes.
Yes.
What do you got for us?
Oh yes, no, I'm sorry. I was awestruck still by Space Marine.
I get it.
Yeah, I do. Right, coming in hot. So for me, also from Saber, bringing in Toxic Commando. Now this has John Carpenter's tagged right across the top of it up there, which always excites me. Anytime I see John Carpenter's, it could be John Carpenter's Magnolia Garden, and I'm gonna be it's like some strange shit's gonna be happening in those flowers.
You are going to die in that garden.
Right. So right off the bat, you get a feel of Left 4 Dead. Kind of, you're the 4 commandos going in. Now this is some sort of, in the near future, a sludge god has been released, and it's turning the land crappy and the people creepy. So you need the best mercenaries to go in and fix this problem. Unfortunately, they get you. So Toxic Commando. Again, we've seen with Back 4 Blood recently, right, guys? It was that Left 4 Dead clone. Very exciting looking initially. And again, this seems very exciting looking. Everything seems right and tight right at the beginning here. Lots of creepy super zombies, hordes of regular zombies, vehicle combat. Until we see specs and gameplay, again, it's just promises. It looks great. I love the promises, but
Back 4 Blood, whatever. Redfall, even worse. Maybe
worse.
Third time is the charm.
It might be.
Right.
Hopefully it's not the 4th time, right?
How hard can it be to make a game that's full of zombies that you shoot and is fun? Who knows? It seems we're like 50-50 on how good these games are. We have basically Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2, and then we have Redfall and Back 4 Blood.
Left 4 Dead is the
Yes,
two good ones.
it is the 2 good ones. Correct.
Well, so the big problem with Back 4 Blood was just poor optimization, right?
Poor optimization, and then people were relatively bored by the gameplay.
Yeah. So just how can you make hordes of zombies boring?
Well, that's a good question, but they seem to have done that.
That doesn't make sense. So if they can follow through on, again, what's promised, it looks really fucking cool, really exciting, very exciting.
And
Toxic Commando.
And there's going to be things growing out of things.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
John Carpenter, and let's be
exactly.
real, that's what he does, man. That's what he does better than anybody else.
It's Sludge
Except for
God
Akira,
has
probably.
been released from another dimension
Yeah.
and is ruining the planet. Of course,
name is
things are
Mark.
going to be. Yeah, it's Mark from accounting.
Dude, Toxic Commando is going to be the fucking sequel to The Thing, man.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Well, we'll see.
It's same universe, man. No, I don't know. I'm just saying things. Hey, speaking of saying things,
Is it Banish time now?
it sure is. So,
Yeah.
Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden. We got a gameplay trailer. This looks super cool. So we have, so we have
Yet another Focus Entertainment game. They were popping
dude,
off.
Yep, pop.
huge presence period
Publishing
this summer.
every game.
All of them. So yeah, we have the explanation of this game. So you are fighting against the living and the dead. It's a third person action game. And the most interesting thing to me is that you're fighting both the living and the dead, and the living and the dead have different ways of combating, you have different ways of combating both. So seeing that there is a dynamic between, combat in both styles is what brings me to this. Again, I feel like I'm a broken record saying Gothic, but very clearly Gothic theme here happening. I don't know what to say. What else to say about this game, because we only have a cinematic trailer so far.
Little bit of gameplay, little interstitial stuff.
There is a little bit enough to know that, and they even mention it in the trailer that they fight the living and the dead, and and it's assumed that you have to deal with them separately.
The vibes I was getting from this is if someone made Forspoken, but it was based off Witcher and was good.
Yeah.
Like if the developers of The Witcher tried to make Forspoken, it looks like Forspoken in a sense. The general theming of the graphics and the style, right? But then the idea of having two different enemy types to deal with, and you're also like this kind of badass ghost hunter guy, like it's neat. I was excited just for the concept of when you're dealing with ghosts in lore, you can't just necessarily punch them to death, right? So hopefully we get some really neat ways of dealing with, restless spirits. And clearly he's got some kind of love interest that may or may not be dead that he's trying to, figure out. It looked like choices were important. There was a few times where they showed like dialogue choices. He has spare and sacrifice. Very YouTube ad-esque. So hopefully it doesn't play like a YouTube ad game.
Skip.
Yeah, skip that one. But no, I was right there with you. It was on originally my short list of this trailer intrigued me.
Yeah,
I mean, my curiosity.
I'm talking about this purely based on the trailer, but the trailer looks phenomenal. It's hard to tell when or what kind of world this takes place in, because when they show locales, some of them look more modern than others, and it's hard to tell whether it's medieval or
it looks like almost World War I era if there wasn't so much fantasy.
Yeah, I was gonna lean more towards a Victorian, late
maybe.
Victorian kind of a stage.
Turn of the century.
It's really hard to tell because the different locales they have very different feeling amongst. We see a lot of brickwork in early parts of the trailer, and then we see a lot of kind of broken down ramshackle hovels the later part of the trailer, and
then Crystal Ghost Dogs, which are specifically 1929.
And it's funny that you say that it looks a lot like Forspoken and The Witcher, but almost a little bit more Forspoken. And when you said that during the trailer, I was looking at that and I'm like, I see a lot of The Witcher in this. So it's totally, you nailed it.
Next one I don't have too much to say about because Amazon's a douchebag and doesn't know how to do trailers.
True.
Lord of the Rings Return to Moria. So this is going to be a dwarven base building, digging in a cave, defending a fort game. This is not the first game of its kind. There are many like them, and they're all fantastic in the sense that pizza's fantastic, right? You can have cold pizza out of the fridge. It's been in there for 3 days. You eat it that's fine. It's still pizza. That said, 2 trailers in a row now, the one that just came out now and the one we saw X amount of months ago, both of them are HUD-less, UI-less, semi-cinematic, in-game engine trailers. That is not what makes or breaks any kind of base building, city management, 4X, Command & Conquer-esque game. Those games live and die based off their UI, their gameplay mechanics, their loop, the balance of progression. And it doesn't bother me that the game kind of looks like ass, right? Because again, there's a lot of really good city management, city builder, economic style games that look like utter garbage that are fantastic. But you need to show me some gameplay, right? Because all you're showing me now is PS2 level graphic dwarves, right? Yeah. Stop it.
It's aged.
Show us, what the gameplay is like. And then we will have a better opinion of whether we should give you more money based off your attempts at Lord of the Rings shit, right?
Yeah.
So fix that.
Is it my dwarves trying to rebuild Moria? Am I going on an adventure?
Moria.
Am I rebuilding a base?
If you hear the audio, they talk about they still haven't been able to find Moria. So they're looking for Moria. You're building and digging and defending towards, I assume, the eventual goal of finding Moria. But
am I one dwarf? Am I all the dwarves?
I don't know. Because they don't show you, right?
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
No, it's a bad trailer. But something to keep on the radar.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, we were all hopeful for the Gollum game until the moment it dropped.
Nobody was hopeful for the Gollum game.
No one wanted that.
We made fun of that thing relentlessly. Every time it's shown up since it came on Summer Games Fest the year before last.
They mocked us.
No.
Precious.
Speaking of Choom.
Oh, yeah. What up, Jim? No. So we have punks that may or may not be cyber. So Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. Now, guys, there is no need to worry about this Cyberpunk because it's just a DLC. So it's just going on to the finished game. Now, also with this game, maybe same time as the DLC launches or just before it, there is going to be another big update for it. Now, guys, that is unfortunately the last big update slated for Cyberpunk. Now, CD Projekt Red has said they are not, of course, done in this universe, but this is the only slated DLC, and it is, like I said, the last big update. Everything looks cyberpunk. It looks good. It looks like the cyberpunk that we know and can get behind now, not the one that, not the one that launched. So it's going to have Idris Elba. Who doesn't love Idris Elba? I mean, that smoky voice covered in honey. Who doesn't want that? And of course, they brought Keanu out to talk about it again. So, guys, I mean, if you've played Cyberpunk, you know what you're getting. There's more missions. There's going to be they're opening up Dogtown. You get to save the president of the new USA. I mean, come on.
Couple things.
Get in.
One, I'm really excited about this for the reason that I was talking with my brother about this big update they're releasing is seemingly touching on everything.
Everything.
Like the police spawning mechanics, the
vehicle
gunplay
combat.
works, everything, which is great. That in turn means that I can finally play the game.
Yep.
Because I still haven't played it because of all the reasons
finally
we
be
know,
done.
right? So when you say, unfortunately, last update, I'm like, good, like finish it.
Yes.
And then I will play it. Two, I do not like this new trend of actors being in my games because it breaks my fucking immersion. Idris Elba, I love you. Keanu Reeves, I love you. It's starting to wig me out. It's gotten to the point that Nicolas Cage is in a video game and he wants to be a symbiote with you. I'm done. Continue.
I have something to say on the topic as well. Dude, it breaks the immersion. Knowing them from other media, their voice is one thing. Like if they were doing VO, that's fine. You can do character VO.
It feels like to me, imagine you reading a fantasy book and then it says, and then Nick Cage acting as the main hero approaches, and like the entire book is tainted because now you picture the main character. Nick Cage.
That's the thing. I don't see what's his name, Johnny Sims or something from
Johnny Silverhand.
Johnny Silver from. I don't see him. I see Keanu Reeves.
Fantastic job. Yeah, but that's
Totally,
the problem is
yeah.
you're putting an actor's face in the game.
I'm like, bitch, this is Ted. This is Neo.
No,
This is
This
is Speed, the guy from Speed.
I get what you guys are saying, but it's not that bad.
The thing is they start making so much money. Next thing you know, Nick Nolte's going to be in a video game, and you're going to regret those words.
Okay, fair. As long as they keep, that's true. Okay,
As long as Nick Nolte isn't in the next Dead by Daylight, we will be fine. What do we have next?
Next up, we've got Spirit of the Samurai. So this one, I
did not see this trailer.
I had about 1 billion tabs
the
open.
fuck is that?
Yeah, so yes.
That little guy.
What the fuck is that thing is a theme of this trailer. So the cinematics look super fucking cool, and then it turns into a side-scrolling like Castlevania style game.
Dude, stop motion animation game.
And that is super cool to me. So it looks like almost stop motion animation while you're playing the game, Metroidvania style. Combat looks like I can't say fluid because it looks stop motion, but like fluid in what stop motion looks like, right? The enemies look super cool. The combat looks super cool. The entire style of this kind of like blows my mind.
That's straight up like claymation.
Yeah, dude. It's fucking wild.
I just saw a samurai vomit his soul into an alien.
Yeah, and you're seeing a giant ghoul spider chasing a cat.
Yeah.
Really hard to explain a trailer, especially if you're just listening to the audio. I'm so sorry. Check this trailer out. The Spirit of the Samurai, Metroidvania style, but the art is really the captain of this trailer.
I mean, what a unique style.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if this is
Looks like
really
Clay
cool.
Fighter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
that's
Interesting.
crazy.
Yeah, I mean the cinematics look so good, and then it goes into this weird side-scrolling.
But I'm not at
Castlevania-style
all
claymation.
disappointed by
No, not
how
at
it
all.
looks. I am like truly excited to play as that little claymation kitty.
Yeah, and the villains, man, they look creepy.
They look
as
creepy,
fuck.
really creepy.
Yeah, it's gonna be a gory game. Yeah, everything looks super cool. It looks like you're playing the spirit of a samurai, and you get to choose different bodies, and that's who you play as. Just based on trailer alone. So that's super. Because right now he's playing a kitten.
That, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
super interesting.
Super interesting.
Yeah, I can't wait to see more on that.
That was crazy. Next up, I have Wayfinder. The quick notes I took until I can remember which trailer this was, because there's so many goddamn trailers.
Yeah.
Same people who made Battle Chasers, Night War, Darksiders, Genesis, and that League of Legends game that wasn't League of Legends. I played Battle Chasers Night War. It was, man, did that game have heart. I didn't hold out toward the end because it felt like, Dev's first game. I don't think it was. But it was really, really neat. You played the Darksiders game. I don't know if you played Genesis. But overall, most of their games have been very well reviewed. The dev here, who I forget off the top of my head. That said, Wayfinders, this trailer looks neat. It's got a polished World of Warcraft, Overwatch
WoW
feeling.
feel.
The general idea is that your hero, your main characters have died and now returned to find ways because they are Wayfinders. I think it might be like a MOBA or a arena brawler. I don't know. There's very little gameplay, and that pisses me off. So stop doing that with your trailers. It's a neat teaser, but I literally have. I could not tell you what the genre is. Like, we see third-person over-the-shoulder action, but is it a co-op story-driven game? Is it two teams, fighting each other? Is it a MOBA? I don't know. So curious, but show me more.
Totally. There is a closed beta you can sign up for on their website.
Oh,
yeah, I would like.
Good to know.
I would like to learn more.
Who's the devs? You got it right there.
It's somewhere here.
Somewhere here. That's the name of the devs. Somewhere here.
They probably have it on the contact.
At the very least,
portion.
we will have it in the show notes.
Airship Syndicate Entertainment.
Airship Syndicate. Oh yeah, Airship. That's right. Remember that now. All right, that's what I've got for wayfinding. Josh.
All right, so Fable.
Okay, Andy, what's
Fable.
up?
So no, their trailer was actually it was pretty good. Again, this is just an announcement trailer, so no gameplay. But they brought in Richard Iowati. Thank you. That was not even close. Who is fucking hilarious, and
Richard Iowati is fucking hilarious
and
all the time.
Killed it on this Fable trailer. He killed it. So I mean,
he's in the game.
It's Fable.
Yeah.
It's Fable, guys. It looks like Fable.
He's Dave, a vegetable enthusiast.
I just said we got Richard Iowati in the game. Like, I love you, man. What is happening? Okay. Anyways, continue.
So it looks like Fable. There's the classic Fable. I mean, I think someone calls him Chicken Chaser.
Okay.
The whole thing. It looks like new Fable.
Yes.
So what's going on there with the comedic take on fantasy, on fairy tales? So I was immediately, because Fable, man, that hits me hard right in the nostalgia beans. Mm-hmm. So I'm personally excited for it. But of course, this video or this announcement was one of the most disliked announcements of the entire Xbox showcase.
Okay.
Care to wager a guess as to why?
Because Richard Iowati is black.
No. It's slightly more petty than that. It's because the main character doesn't look feminine enough.
Oh, okay.
And she's feminine, but not feminine enough.
Not enough. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a woman and she doesn't have giant titties.
Yeah,
we all love jacking off to Fable. That's my pastime, right? They're ruining
So-
my hobby.
Of course, like a lot of the comparisons were brought up to Aloy, which is just one of the coolest characters to come out in video games recently. It's like, honestly, if this character's as cool as Aloy, then they're off to a good fucking start. So keep at it. But it's an announcement trailer. I'm excited for Fable. Let's see if they've righted some of their wrongs.
We all have a history with Fable.
Oh, yeah.
I had followed Fable so hard for the first couple of games. Let me tell you how many times they told me you're going to love this fucking dog, right?
Yep.
Like every Fable game is described before it releases as the most groundbreaking shit. Like you're going to orgasm your ass through your nostrils and then it comes out and it's a Fable game.
I mean, it was
So-
Lionhead Studios, man, and they did have
Peter
grand
Molyneux, right?
visions. Yeah.
Yeah. That man, someone needs to give him $300 million so he can actually make what he has in his
Someone
head.
needs to give him a Xanax too. Like really, at the end of the day, like
One of the two.
calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
We're gonna give you lots of money. Make the game that you've
Give
always
him-
wanted to
yeah,
make.
An injection of cash and some just relaxing drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? It's a Fable game. They're hit or miss in their own unique way. What do you got for us, Andy?
Up next. So
This title looks stupid.
listen. The game is called X Defiant, so it is one of the like most beloved trailers that happened this week. It's a COD clone,
I
but
would
at
say
the
it
end of the
looks
day,
like God.
but at the end of the day, I'm done with COD, and I want to see something a little bit different. And they're promising that it's going to be different, and I don't know.
Not too different, though.
No, not too different. At the end of the day, this was a quick pick because these guys kept stealing all the games that I wanted to talk about. So I chose X Defiant. It's squad based fucking shooter.
This is
Yeah.
Mega Bloks Valorant.
Mega. So that said, I like anything that is a squad based shooter that isn't Valorant. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I like.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Mega Bloks. Dude. They had some neat
That's
pieces.
true. That's true. That's better. It's still better than Duplo. But yeah, so at the end of the day, I like these kinds of competitive shooters. I'm just tired of Battlefield. I'm tired of Call of Duty. I didn't care for Valorant too much. So I'm looking for something else. And this fills that hole for me for a little while, I think.
It's kind of neat to see a shooter that isn't a battle royale,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like, this is a genre that's dead. What do you mean it's team deathmatch? What does that even mean?
No, yeah. I mean, this is a classic competitive FPS, man.
With a little bit of fancy sci-fi gadgetry, right? Flamethrower.
Now, I would feature something else because I did get invited to the closed beta for the finals. Have you guys seen that?
No, this sounds like college.
It's really cool. So 4 teams of 4, if I recall correctly, and you are playing on a game show to save your life.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, and they've got really interesting weapons. Like you get a foam gun, which you can create that gives you like hardening foam to
Okay,
create quick
very
walls and stuff like that.
Prey-esque.
Yeah, but it's very fast paced and very fun. Like said in chat, I'm really glad I got invited to this test. But
Very cool.
yeah, that's if I could show that one because it was shown off during Summer of Gaming, then I would have. But we got X Defiant instead, and X Defiant, for all it's worth, does look good. Like it looks like a tight shooter.
If there's one thing I could tell most gamers around my age, slightly younger, mid-20s and later, there's a lot of these clones of games, like clones of Battlefield and whatnot, and you write them off because you're like, hey, it's a clone. You can't nearly try them.
Try them,
Right?
Yeah.
Most of them suck, but for the pure reason that because their user base is small, because they are clones, they're prone to hackers. And I'm just going to say the letters SEA. So there are games out there that if we give them a shot, you realize, hey, this game actually does something neat or new that the original one doesn't have.
Yeah.
And you learn and you progress. Right. They're worth trying out.
And then maybe you find your favorite of the bunch, right?
Yeah. And then maybe your dev that makes your favorite 4X grand strategy game where a normal match takes 20 to 60 hours releases Stellaris Nexus.
That's the one.
That is the one. Paradox Interactive has taken a bold fucking gamble in attempting to make a multiplayer, competitive, game that is a 4X game based in the Stellaris universe that takes about an hour to play start to finish. So we're talking exploring a small galaxy and colonizing planets and building up economy and building up fleets and dealing with espionage and diplomacy and politics and bureaucracy, all in the time it takes to have a constipated shit. This is...
I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
I don't know about that.
Don't know, but if they can pull it off, you imagine playing like a 4X game in an hour? What does that even mean? Doesn't make sense.
Josh isn't sure
right?
that he could finish a constipated shit in an hour.
Oh, okay.
I don't. Oh boy, that.
See, to me, this feels like America's Army. America's Army came out and said, we're making a shooter where you're going to lay down for 18 minutes and not move a muscle, and the chance that somebody comes around a corner 900 meters away, right? It's so bizarre, but they're attempting it. And more importantly, a few of the big YouTubers, let me pull it up here, E3PO and Montu with ASPEC hosting are going to do a gameplay premiere June 16th, which is in 2 days, 8 a.m. I'm excited to see it. I have no idea how it's going to work. It might be like the PlayStation version of StarCraft. Who knows? We will see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin to describe a 4X game that plays in an hour. That's just antithetical. So
yeah, it seems wrong and dirty. But
I mean, I've literally taken an hour to create my race to play Stellaris, and considered that
take an
quick.
hour,
yeah,
and considered it quick.
Yeah,
I don't like that. That boggles my mind. Yeah. I am down and up about it, up and down about it. I don't even know.
Well, much more reasonable and something that is soon upon us, literally tomorrow, is the 4th season of Deep Rock Galactic. Oh boy, I am excited.
Hello, miners.
He is excited.
Talking about like competitive co-op games that are dwarves, right? This is how you do dwarves, Amazon. Okay.
For Carl?
For Carl. The 4th season is going to have all kinds of new stuff. I have a thing pulled up here. So building off the Rockpox disease of season 3, we're getting new enemies and new mini bosses and new boss types and new biomes, all based around the spread of the Rockpox plague that has descended upon Hoxes. We aren't getting any new weapons, but with that said, there is a new mission modifier, I'm assuming that's how it's working, where you get jump packs for your boots. You get to float around. Much more mechanics based around dealing with the Rockpox infected bugs. They're going to have a whole new performance pass, which is Deep Rock Galactic's Battle Pass, which has always been free. There's no paid track. Anything you don't get is available later in a future season just by playing missions. There's no FOMO in Deep Rock. This is a free update. Play the goddamn game if you haven't. You are missing out. I'm very excited. Starship Troopers is now weaning. I've capped out all 3 classes. There's been no news about any kind of updates. So I'm jonesing for some new, just killing alien bugs.
Yeah.
And it's happening tomorrow, and I will be playing it.
You're going to do your part.
Fucking A.
I did my part. I did my part so much. Justin and I carried 3 missions in a row today.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah. Co-ed
Guys.
showers and everything.
Hell yeah.
We covered every game announced this week. Mm-hmm. That's a joke.
Yeah, that's not even close.
There was that one Pokemon game with slave labor and guns that
a Beastie Ball.
no Pal World.
Power World,
Yeah,
yes.
Donkey's gonna have a fucking hate.
Oh
with
my
that
God.
game. That's all I wanted to say about that.
Yeah.
Go watch the Power World trailer. You're like, okay, this is a game made
Wait
for Donkey.
Yeah, wait for Donkey. Yeah, get the dunk view on it. So yeah, we didn't cover every game that was announced this week or even dreamt of this week. Like, get real.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Who are you?
It's hard to describe to you how many games were announced or shown off this week. We didn't cover anything from the Wholesome Direct, which covered 73 games just in itself. But what I do have for you is from all of the expos and showcases that we pulled from today, I have a list of all those games with their associated trailers, the trailers that you have been watching if you're checking us out on video or live right now. Make sure you go over to the blog at videogametango.com. You can get a full list of games. You can see all the expos that they were pulled from. You can get all of their trailers. Make sure you check that out. Guys, do you have anything else you'd like to say before we go?
I can't believe they're still making Fable.
I know, dude. Yeah. Oh boy.